Welcome to Oxford Spires Academy's remote education tutorial videos. In this video, we're going to show you how to access live video conference calls with your class and the safeguarding and behaviour expectations involved. Before we look at how you physically use Teams to access a live meeting, just want to draw your attention to these two very important documents. Both of these have been sent by email to all students and by parent mail to all parents and carers. It is hugely important that you read those two documents, that you understand the safeguarding issues around live conferencing and know how to conduct yourself fully in this online environment. I will come back to the remote education agreement after I've shown you what the Teams video conferencing looks like and just remind you about those really important points. So having read all of that documentation and really understood how you've got to behave online, you're now ready to take the online meeting. And there's two ways you can find the meetings. One is if you go into your class team, you'll see in the posts page that there's a link to the meeting. It tells you what the title is and when it is, what time it is as well. So if I could just click that blue link and then click join and join the meeting. But before I do that, I want to show you the other way you could find it, which is if you click on calendar here on the left hand side, that will give you a calendar of all the different meetings that you've got organised. So here's this lesson coming up on Tuesday the 12th. So at the right time, I would just click on there and click join. Remembering, of course, to go online about 5 or 10 minutes before to make sure that you've got no technology problems and that you can join the class. You can join early because you won't actually get into the room until the teacher allows you in. You'll get this message when the meeting starts. We'll let people know you're waiting. And then whenever your teacher actually comes online, the message will change to that. And then the teacher eventually will admit you into the class. So the other thing to know is that by this stage, the teacher will already be recording. So do be aware of that. So things to look out for on here. Your teacher will probably ask you to check that you can find the raise hands button, which is here. And when you click it, it just gives your teacher an indication that your hand is up and that you'd like to make a point or ask a question. And then remember when you finish to go back down and lower it. So raise hand and then go back, lower hand. Also, the box beside it shows the conversation. So at the start of the lesson, the teacher might ask you just to introduce yourself, say good morning, and like we would do in class, so the teacher can see everybody's here and has found that conversation tab. That's going to be where you can ask questions. So at any time during the session, if you want to ask your teacher something, just click on the conversation and ask your question in there. Then at the end of the meeting, all that you need to do is to click hang up. And when the meeting's finished, you'll notice back in the posts page of your class team that there's a record of all the comments that were made. So there's a comment I made just now, good morning. So you can keep a good revision base. You can copy that, and if there's good ideas in there that you want to keep, you can copy paste those. And equally, there's a recording of the meeting underneath. So at any time you can go back and play that meeting and watch the materials that the teacher talked about and make notes from there. That video was made using the Teams web app in Google Chrome browser. The Teams app that you can download to your device looks slightly different, so I just want to show you a few differences. First, you will notice the controls here to turn your webcam on and off and to choose a filter. It's a good idea before you join a meeting to make sure you're happy with the camera view in case you need to use it in the live session. The background filters blur the background to make it more private. Remember, make sure your camera is switched off before you click join. Secondly, choose computer audio and remember to mute your microphone at the start of the session. These features will appear when that facility is switched on by the ICT administrators. Then, once you're ready for the meeting, click join now. Then when you're in the meeting itself, it looks pretty much as before, only this time the controls are at the top rather than lower in the screen towards the middle as before. So that's the raise hand, lower hand and the conversation tab. And once your microphone and cameras were enabled on here as well, you'd see a little icon to switch those on and off too. So now you've had an opportunity to have a look at how Teams works in practice for live conferencing. Now we need to make sure you really understand this remote education agreement. And it begins with realizing that, of course, the school provides this through our school Microsoft license, free of charge to all families, and it's got to be used in a way that is for the benefit of your education, for school purposes only. It's not an additional part of your social media. Those applications should only be used in a way that you've agreed with your parents. They must know where you are and when you're taking part in live calls, and that it's done in a way that you are both happy with. That you'll keep your passwords and ID safe, because we don't want people who don't belong to the Academy having access to personal information that's on there. That you take responsibility for your behaviour, that you understand that it's just like you're in school, you need to behave in the same way, and there will be similar consequences if that doesn't go right. And then that you only use the chat function that you saw in the live conference for the work. It's not there to have conversations, private conversations with your friends. That will get in the way of the learning, and just as it isn't accepted in class, won't be accepted online. It's important for you to understand that every time you take part in a live conference on Teams, we will record it, and that recording will start before you enter the room. You also must never yourself record a live session, or indeed share those sessions with anybody else. They are private to the Academy, between you, your teacher and your class. Also, in the same way as we wouldn't do at school, we must not use our computers to look at any offensive or illegal material, or to share that through our Teams system. And if you have any general concerns, then please talk to your teacher or to the school safeguarding lead by emailing the Academy. So next we come on to think about webcams when this facility becomes available in Teams. We always start a lesson with webcams off and with microphones off. And then the teacher may ask us at some stage to put the webcam on, and we can do. And if they ask us to switch it off, please do so quickly and respectfully. When there's only 2 or less students, then there are safeguarding issues around sharing webcams, and so that should only be done when there are 2 adults present. And remember that the entire meeting will always be recorded as well. So the 2 adults could be 2 teachers or 1 teacher and a parent. And if you notice that you're in a situation where that's not happening, please make sure your webcam is switched off and inform your teacher or safeguarding advisor at school. If you do turn your camera on, make sure that you've got a neutral background so that nobody else can see your personal information. And be aware that everybody in the household should know that you're doing that, so that nobody accidentally walks behind you and comes on screen. Make sure there's nothing inappropriate that can be seen by anybody viewing your video. If you do turn your camera on, please make sure that you're dressed appropriately. It doesn't need to be school uniform, but it does need to be respectable. Also understand that there is no compulsion on you putting your webcam on. You can leave it off or switch it off at any time if you wish. And also remember to only switch on your microphone when directed by your teacher, and keep it on mute the rest of the time. I hope that's been helpful to give a little bit of an insight into how we might use Teams and how it practically works for these live conferencing calls. And do remember that everybody's experimenting at the moment. There may be technical glitches. Do bear with us and keep your teachers informed by email. Thanks for watching.